Hello, all my dear friends. This is Maxine Taylor, and I have the February 2023 forecast in front of me for the United States of America. I'm going to share this with you, but I've got some good news and some not so good news. You know, one balances the other. Before I jump into that, though, some of you know that in answer to your requests, yes, I am going to be teaching astrology online in a virtual classroom. Many of you have said how you've learned so much from my videos, and you would like to become an astrologer, perhaps, or just study it. Well, guess what? It's time. My beginning class is going to start on February 9th. For more information, just go to my website, MaxineTaylor.com. All the information is there. Then, to sign up, just get in touch with me and I will explain to you what you need to do. It's no big deal. We're just going to keep it real simple. The intermediate classes are going to start in March, and these classes are for the person who already knows how to interpret a birth chart. So the beginning classes, there are 3 of them in February, are designed for the person who knows nothing about astrology, except maybe that they're a Taurus. You know what I mean? After those 3 classes, you'll have a terrific foundation, and then you can move forward into the intermediate classes of how to interpret the chart. Some of you already have a concept of how to interpret the chart, so you would wait. You would not necessarily start up with a beginning class. You would wait until March for the intermediate class. Anyhow, if you've got questions, go to my website, MaxineTaylor.com. And then if you still have questions, email me or give me a call. All right, let's now talk about the United States forecast for February 2023. Lot going on here. Now, remember that the houses in a mundane chart, such as a country's chart, are slightly different than in your own birth chart. So I'm going to start very simply with the sun. This is the yellow planet up here. The sun is the giver of life. And when the sun is sitting in the 10th house, this is the executive branch of the government. Now, the sun starts off in the 9th house, where it's been for a month. And the 9th house deals with the upper courts. It deals with foreign travel, foreign trade, higher education, religion, science, advertising, insurance. It deals with the Supreme Court and our philosophy of life. It most importantly for now, I think, rules world trade. And of course, universities, but world trade. Our economy has been reflecting that. Okay, on the 3rd of February, the sun moves into the 10th house. Now, in a country's chart, the 10th house is the president, and it is the reputation of the country. The sun is the giver of life. And so our country, the reputation of the United States of America comes alive. It looks really positive. The 10th house, as I said, rules the president and our public image, as well as our leaders in general. And so the sun is going to sit on the moon. Now, the moon is in Aquarius in the United States chart in the 10th house. What this says to us is that the moon, when the sun sits on top of it, the moon rules the second house of money. And so there can be more money in the hands of the average citizen. Most importantly, though, our public image and that of our president look very positive, which I think is just really cool. Now we have a new moon and a full moon. We already know that. The full moon is February 5th in 16 degrees of Leo. It sits right here on the cusp or the edge of the fourth house. Now, the fourth house, again, in a mundane chart, deals with real estate. It deals with a party out of power. So, of course, the Republicans are out of power when it comes to the executive branch, of course. And so what happens is on the full moon, everything comes to a head. And so we can expect the unexpected, perhaps, from the Republican Party. Okay, the fourth house deals with not just the party out of power or real estate, but domestic affairs, weather. Our weather has just been awful. Land, builders, farmers, very important. And when we're speaking about farmers, we're speaking about crops. We're talking about mines. And we're talking about seniors. Okay, on the full moon, those areas come to a head. How remains to be seen. I'm hoping that with the farmers and the crops, in spite of how awful the weather has been, and of course the fourth house rules weather, I'm hoping that crops will improve. It's a little hard to say, only because of the weather situation. I can't even bear to look at it anymore on the news. I really feel for the people in the path of all the snow and the ice and everything. Okay, that's the full moon on the 5th. 2 weeks later is a new moon. Now that's when everything starts flowing again. It's a new start, so to speak. And the new moon is on the 20th of February in 1 degree Pisces. By the way, 2 days before that, on the 18th, we will be in the dark of the moon. And this means when you look at the heavens, there is no light in the heavens. You can't see the moon. That is a very low energy time for the world, the dark of the moon. On the 20th, the moon starts growing. Once again, that 10th house is activated. Our public image looks terrific. President Biden has the ability to move upward. The entire Democratic Party has that same opportunity. Our reputation internationally looks good. And actually, all the leaders, all of our leaders, look real good. The sun, of course, as we know, is sitting on the moon on the 7th. And so there can be a change in the approach that we use, a change in the White House's approach. Whatever that means, however that manifests, it will be a more positive moving forward. All right, at the very same time, let's talk about what else is going on. All right, let's do Mercury. Mercury is what we think about and talk about. Mercury has been in the 8th house of secrets, of other people's money. And this can be Ukraine, of course, because we have been, like many countries, sending money to them, sending arms to them, etc. The 8th house deals with the treasurer, with debts, with escrow, with taxes, losses, the death rate, and with all secrets. And so there has been a great deal of behind the scenes private talking. On the 4th, Mercury moves into the 9th house, and we're talking about a bigger picture. Now, in a person's chart, the 9th house deals with our philosophy of life. We see options we did not know we had. It's our principles, our belief systems. Well, in a mundane chart, the 9th house rules the upper courts. The Supreme Court is going to get into it somehow. It rules foreign travel, higher education, religion, the clergy, advertising, science, insurance, and of course the Supreme Court, world trade, and universities. Now, as Mercury sits on Pluto, which it will on the 9th, Pluto is out with the old, in with the new. And this can bring about a change in our foreign travel, in our communication, in our advertising, in the upper courts. In other words, our whole belief system can undergo a change. Mercury is a quick moving planet. It's a thinking planet, not a doing planet. So there'll be a lot of talking and a lot of communication. However, on the 16th, Mercury sits on the South Node. In an individual's chart, the South Node is not the bad guy. It's not, oh my goodness, it's terrible. It deals with what you have mastered in past lives. And so it's easy for you to work with the South Node. I'm looking to see if, yes, there is a conjunction between the South Node and Pluto. So we've already mastered our higher mind, our international relationships, and Mercury comes along and rekindles conversations in those areas. On the 21st, Mercury sits on the moon. Sits on the midheaven. On the 23rd, it sits on the moon. And so there is a talk about change in the executive office. It doesn't mean there will be a change. It is talking about it, thinking about it. I hope you get the distinction. But the emphasis then is on the party in power, which would be the Democrats. Now, Venus, the pink planet, has been in the 10th house, bringing love, bringing popularity, bringing money. Venus is the lesser benefic. She is one of the good guys. On the 6th, she moves into the 11th house, and I'm going to talk about what that is, and sits next to Jupiter, the greater benefic. So Venus and Jupiter are both blessing the 11th house. Let me tell you what it means. In a mundane chart, the 11th house rules Congress and congressmen. Okay? That's the first sign of good news I've seen from that bunch in a long time. So let's just see it happening. Legislation, the Treasury, city councils, county councils, friends, and adoptive children, other people's children. Very, very interesting how that's going to tie in. We'll have to wait and see. But with the two benefics blessing that 11th house, I think we can make a great deal of wonderful progress. Now, Mars, the red planet, the warrior. Wherever Mars is in your birth chart, that's what you fight with and fight for. And you fight for what you believe. It is natally in our first house in the United States chart that I use. And so we're taking a stand for ourselves. We're saying, I want to do what I want to do, and I want to do it now. When Mars sits on our natal Mars, which it does all March. Now I'm getting ahead of myself here, but I want you to be aware of it. This is not in February, but in March. I just wanted to prepare you. The first house deals with the attitude and the political attitude of the people. And there it is, the planet of war. And so this is what we were born, this is the chart that we were born with. It also deals with public health. And so this is a really important time for the masses because they are angry. And my suggestion is just pick a topic. Although I do think that the handling of certain situations by the police have, of course, brought about rage. And so they can increase if things don't go the way people like. We know that. Now, finally, I want to share something with you. This is the planet Uranus. It's in the 12th house of behind the scenes activities. And let me read you what this house represents. Bribery, spies, hidden enemies, prison, jail, hospitals, criminals, charitable institutions, seclusion, the past, secret societies, and welfare. Now, Uranus is the rebel. So there is a great deal of behind the scenes rebellion, and look at what it's doing, against the president and the Democratic Party. And I didn't put squares here. For those of you who study astrology, probably should have, but I'm telling you, Uranus, the rebel, is kicking the 10th house butt. And when you have behind the scenes activities, it's hard to know who they are and what team they are on. However, with Uranus, the explosion planet, the rebellious, innovative planet, squaring the president and the executive branch of government this month, in February, I should say, there can be more unpredictable events, all right, dealing with rebellion. Tie that in with Mars getting ready to sit on its own place in the United States chart. And we're talking about open fighting, open rebellion, etc. Now, I know that Mars sits on Mars in March. It's interesting. Mouse in French, Mars in English. And so we've got Mars sitting on Mars, and Uranus just given the president hell, and it's behind the scenes. These are private enemies, hidden enemies, and I would hope that when that occurs, because Uranus is going to be squaring the moon, which represents the president, and the midheaven, which represents the presidency and our public image. And let me just check my ephemeris to see how long that's going to go on. Okay. Give me a second here. All right, Uranus is going to be squaring the moon. Excuse me, guys. I didn't plan on going forward with this, but I really don't want to keep you hanging. All right. February and March. And then, of course, as it always does, it goes retrograde. And in January of 2024, it will once again square the moon. So the rebellion from behind the scenes, from hidden enemies, is going to continue through this year. And then it will be out of the way. I'm not sure how or why or whatever. I just read them. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So join me next month in March, when once again I tell you about Uranus, I tell you about all the stuff going on, Pluto, the whole 9 yards. In the meantime, my suggestion to everybody out there is find something wonderful and positive that helps our planet, helps our country, something that you can throw yourself into that is productive and positive and makes you feel good. Something good in and of itself, not something a crazy person would think was good, but something that can help mankind at this time. We are in interesting straits, and it's important that we have hope, that we feel connected, that we are doing something that we enjoy doing. There are new careers opening up. So my suggestion is find something that you love to do that is good for the whole, and share it. Do it and share it. And that will be a marvelous contribution to our planet. So, till we meet again, this is Maxine Taylor saying, may the stars shine brightly on you and yours. Bye for now.